All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I'm going to go ahead and open this meeting of the Historical Preservation Commission at 6:31 p.m. Wendy, would you like to call the roll?
Chair Alcorn,
Here?
Vice Chair Murib Steele,
Here.
Commissioner Fisher,
Here.
Commissioner Henderson, Commissioner Honey, Commissioner Ritter, Commissioner Smith. Chair, we have quorum.
All right, thank you. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we'll move on to approve tonight's agenda. Does anybody have any objections to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, the agenda is approved. And then let's go ahead and approve the meeting minutes from the October 21st meeting. Would anybody like to call a motion?
Move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second.
Was that Fisher or Field?
Fisher. Sorry, I'm figuring this out, guys. It's been a month.
We can do thumbs up, thumbs down. All in favor? 7 in favor, the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, so let's move on to the public comment portion of the meeting. So we've got a little blurb here. If you wish to address the board under public comment, please sign in on the public speaker form before the call to order for this meeting. Public comment is an opportunity to express opinions regarding issues that are not part of public hearings on tonight's agenda. A separate opportunity will be provided for comment for any public hearing. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. We expect comments to be civil. Disrespectful or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. The board is not authorized under the Colorado Open Meetings Law to discuss, comment, or take action at this meeting on any issue raised by public comment that is not part of tonight's agenda. All right, so our first commenter is Pam. If you want to come on up.
Hello, Historic Preservation Commission. My name is Pam Chadbourne. I live a block and a half from here. I had a cold last week, and so I wasn't going to come tonight. I'm still tired, and I'm cranky, and so sorry about that, but here I am. So first I want to say, the project downtown was approved by council, and I'm shocked and appalled to know that that was done without any kind of public discussion or input, public interface with the Historic Preservation Board. Commission, because you're quasi-judicial. And you have the expertise on this that I know Planning Commission and City Council do not have. I wanted to see, I think we, the public, should have some record of what Historic Preservation Board's evaluation of the impact of the proposed project downtown is on the historic fitness and strength and integrity of our Main Street and wider now historic district downtown. And then a projected mid-century overlay district would be nice in there too. That wasn't done. It's not on the record. Nobody can see that because it wasn't done. And I think that still is a failure. I think the city needs to fix that. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your assessment is. And by the way, for the record, the timer isn't working, so the speaker is disadvantaged in that way. Second of all, I have a handout here, and my issue is not about the public hearing contents, but the fact that when I downloaded a PDF file, I found 9 pages in 2 sections, 4 and 5 pages that were blank. Now, and that was 2 hours before the meeting. State law requires that the packet be downloaded for public accessibility 24 hours before the meeting. So I've got the problem statement there. I think that the applicant is disadvantaged because their work is not shown to us. We, the public, are disadvantaged because we don't know, and you don't hear the full assessment because the data isn't included in what was published publicly. So for me, that's a problem. It's a fixable problem. It's very easy. IT has known this for 30 years. The poster or the originator of a document is responsible for checking a document that's posted for the next step in a formal process. So when that posting is made, our clerk and or the technical expert should go look at the file that's posted and make sure it has integrity, just that the information is there. This has caused failure at this has caused much more expensive failures, and so we know that it's very easily preventable. So I've documented that in the handout, and I'd like it fixed. Finally, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone, and next time I see you, hopefully I'll be in a better mood and well. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Would anybody else like to comment during the general public comment for the meeting? Okay, so then we will move, I'll close the public comment and we'll move on to our public hearings.
Do I need to say that out loud?
Yes, you need to put it on the record and then turn on your mic too, please.
I need to recuse myself from HPC Resolution 909-2024.
Right, thank you. We'll see you in a minute.
I'll miss you guys.
Okay, so we'll move on to HPC Resolution 09-2024, approving a certificate of appropriateness for the building located at 2389 West Main Street. Before staff and the applicants present, does anyone from the commission have a conflict? Have you attended a neighborhood meeting or conducted a site visit? Okay. Sarah, you want to take it away?
Just waiting for it to show up on the screen there. Yes, sir.
Yes, I have done a site visit.
Okay, great. So for this application tonight, they're looking at doing a rear shed roof addition to 2389 West Main Street, otherwise known as Sincali Taqueria. Here is the location. It's roughly at that northeast corner of Prince and Main. It's kind of one building in to the east, showing the front, and then the rear of the building, the portion with the colorful kind of flags, is specifically Sincali Taqueria. This is just outlining a bit of the process. It was noticed as required, and the Historic Preservation Commission does have final determination. We'll go over the proposed changes, noting approval criteria, if I could speak tonight, and then staff recommendation. So as I mentioned, it's a rear shed roof meant to be used as a patio cover for outdoor seating. There is currently outdoor seating out there right now. It just does not have a permanent kind of roof structure. The primary structure of it will be timber, and then the roof itself will have asphalt shingles. The proposed area is roughly 537 square feet. The height at its highest point is close to 11.5 feet, and that'll be right up against the building, which you'll see in the elevation. And then it has a slope of 1.5 to 12. Here's just a quick site plan. It's the middle structure kind of here. It is currently has a fence around it. That fence will be maintained. Some of the posts will be removed in order to accommodate the timber posts or columns. Here is the north elevation. So fairly simple structure, that roof kind of coming down, and then 3 10 by 10 posts on the timber posts on the front, and then 1 up against the building on each side, which we'll show here. The east and west elevation are identical. So again, showing that kind of 1.5 over 12 slope. There will be gutters installed. There will be some connection to the building right up at the top point of the roof, but otherwise it's freestanding. And then, yeah, just kind of showing that existing fence as well. The criteria, it does meet all the approval criteria. We looked at Secretary of Interior standards, the Downtown Littleton Historic Preservation guidelines, and then the ULUC criteria. Staff is recommending that it is approved as submitted and no conditions required. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Would the applicant like to come up and present?
Hi, good evening. First and foremost, thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys. My name is Oemi Romero, and this is my husband.
Hi there, Andres.
So we are the owners of Sencali Taqueria, and we're coming today with this proposal. Thankfully, within our year, our anniversary in Littleton, we have encountered great success, and we are pretty much looking forward on getting this space as a permanent space where we can accommodate all our clients. As you guys know, Fridays, Saturdays, especially over the weekend, we have increased our wait time to up to an hour because of our space inside is very small, and having the ability to fulfill the other extra seats that we currently have will greatly impact in a positive way our business. I think in details, we will allow John and Brad to take over. And we just want to appreciate you guys for being here and, for taking the time to listen to us. Thank you. Unless you want to.
Great, thank you. Does the board have any questions for the applicant, the architects, or Sarah? Oh, do you want to turn on your mic?
I was just curious about the roofing material.
Yes, I think everyone had a great summary. Sarah, thank you for all the documents you produced and for viewing. I don't have a lot more to add, but regarding the roofing,
Right.
we are calling that out as asphalt, composition asphalt roofing.
Okay, it seems very low pitch.
It is.
Okay.
Yep, we will take that into account when we do the construction drawings for the building permit.
Oh.
And there'll be special underlayment.
Yeah, because it looked like it was lower than the 2-on-12 pitch.
It is, yes,
It's normally
it's 1.5.
recommended for those.
Yep, so we plan on doing a special underlayment below those
Okay.
shingles, yeah.
All right, that was it.
And let's see, I'm trying to think if I can add anything else to the discussion here. I think, as Sarah pointed out, we've kind of chosen a palette that we would consider consistent with what we've done on other projects in the downtown area here. We've got rustic timbers. They're not going to be rough sawn per se, but they'll be stained. They'll have a semi-transparent stain on them, and the roofing will be a little darker color, probably a charcoal or a slate color. And the roofing, that's really it. The connectors, the timbers will have black metal connectors something I'm sure that all of you are familiar with that sort of look with this type of construction. So any other questions that I can answer? It is probably worth pointing out that no parking is affected. We're not taking up any more square footage than what currently is there for the patio. It's same existing size patio, and we're just merely putting a cover over it. So, thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move to the public comment portion. So I will open the public hearing portion at 6:46 p.m. Thank you. All right, and Pam, you are first on our list, if you want to come on up.
I'm Pam Chadbourne, and I live a block and a half from here and 3 blocks from this location. So my basic thought about it is that there are 3 buildings here, or 3 businesses in this one set of facades that are coherent. And they're on the corner of Prince and Main, which is a defining corner in our downtown. The brickwork on this, the front of these 3 businesses and the side on Prince are really important. And the side of Prince has already been kind of compromised by some kind of poorly done vent at some point, which got onto the white accent brick over the rear window on that Prince side. So I'm really sensitive to this building. Well, anyway, so I thought that in the 1890s, the approach for shading and increasing space, because businesses then had the same kind of challenges. They wanted to increase area for their patrons and passersby. I thought that solution was awnings, and I thought I learned that from this body at some point over many years. I appreciate that this is wood, and I appreciate also the fact that the previous application by the next door business to this, the poor, to me, kind of plasticky solution that's like Denver beer on the west side of Prince, which I regard as unfit for the historic district, personally. I'm glad this isn't that, and that's really great, and I'm very appreciative of that, and I also appreciate that the businesses need more space. I have complained in public before about the Carnegie Library being obstructed by the melting pots putting poor kinds of lighting and plastic structures in front of the Carnegie Library. It is our only visual easement in the city. We have a right to view the front of the Carnegie Library. And it keeps getting intruded on, and I'm angry about it. So I appreciate that this is, I think, a more sensitive solution. I just think that maybe an awning for all 3 businesses. The other consideration for, to me, the commission is that, does this suit only one business? Will this solve it for 3 businesses? Can this be done for all 3 if they need it? We already know the business next door wanted to expand as well. So I wanted to throw in the concept of a awning as an alternate. I realize that winds and other kind of weather issues are a concern. But
That is time.
I think awnings are a good possible other solution. Thanks.
Thank you, Pam. Would anybody else like to comment for this public comment portion? Okay, I will close the public comment at 6:50 p.m. And now it's time for us as a board to discuss. Does anybody want to call a motion?
I'll move. I move to approve HPC Resolution 09-2024, approving the Certificate of Appropriateness for 2389 West Main Street.
I'll second.
All right, Would anybody like to go first and share their comments or thoughts on this project?
I just wanted to say, echoing the public comment, that I like that this is a wood structure, and I think it's we're not supposed to talk about policy in here, so not talking about policy, I think it's a model that will be something that other store owners can contemplate.
I guess I echo his comments. I was curious about that, and when the other restaurant maybe comes back in or something like that, I'd really like to see some continuity on what goes on back there, rather than everybody do their own thing.
There was a time when I first joined the board that there was conversation going on around activating the alleyways of downtown Littleton, and that conversation kind of came and went. But I like this because it doesn't change the facade of the building, and it also allows the business owners to get on with their business and do what they need to do to make a successful business, while at the same time doing something for that parking area in the back that looks like it could use some TLC.
I just had one question and comment. I did not notice downspouts. Are there downspouts?
You know, Sarah, it would be on that rear.
Can you please come up to the?
Excuse me. Yes. They're not, yeah, there's a note on the very far left-hand side, new gutter and downspouts. And graphically, they're shown on each end of the patio structure. There's one over the left column, one over the right-hand column. So they would discharge down at the bottom of those wood columns.
I see.
Yeah.
And I just have a question. That, we just did a shed roof at my house. And boy, it puts off, that snow melts for a long period of time. And so there's lots of liquid coming off the
Right.
roof. And one thing, I'll just throw it out, and you could consider this or not. We did a rain chain, and it is beautiful and it's wonderful. So it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, those are nice looking, yes.
I think I'm on. I do have a question in regards to the slope of the roof, and maybe, Bobby, you have a little bit of thought. Because the parking is right up against the slope of the roof, is that going to, instead of having the current structure there, is that going to dump more snow on cars parked there if we've got a roof instead of what is currently there, which wouldn't dump any snow?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't
that's just
think
my
so.
curiosity. Okay.
I'd be more concerned if it was like a standing seam metal roof, where the snow can cascade off very quickly.
That was going to be my.
Yeah, okay, just a comment, yeah.
Can you repeat that again about the roof?
You were asking about the snow coming off the roof, right? And I would be more concerned with the roof if it was a standing seam metal roof, because, snow travels off of that very quickly. Whereas with the asphalt shingles like this, I guess it would hold the snow and allow it to melt at a slower pace.
Thank you.
And also, if it were a steeper pitch, you
Yeah,
would
yeah.
consider that.
Okay, great. Well, you guys had all of the comments that I was going to have. I think that this is a good project and provides a good example for the other two businesses on the other side. And I agree, I feel there should be some continuity on the back of that building instead of having three different structures. And this is a good example. So thank you. All right. We will go ahead and move forward for a vote. And Wendy, I'm still having an issue with the voting. I'm not getting the 3 little dots to open a vote.
We will do thumbs up and thumbs down.
All right.
Ready?
Ready.
Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. 7 in favor, the motion carries unanimously.
All right.
I'm sorry, that's 6 in favor.
6 in favor, right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and should we call Kalina back in? All right, welcome back. Okay, so we'll move on to our second public hearing of the night. This is HPC Resolution 08-2024, approving a certificate of appropriateness for the building located at 5503 South Prince Street. Before staff or the applicant presents, does anybody from the commission have a conflict? Have you attended a neighborhood meeting or conducted a site visit? Great. Anyone else? All right. You want to take it away again?
Yep, will do.
Commissioner Honey was the only one that did a site visit.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. So this item is for an accessory, or certificate of appropriateness for an accessory building demolition, as well as a new accessory building at 5503 South Prince Street. I do want to make a note that this is an individually landmark property, for it to require a certificate of a demolition, it would have to be affecting the primary house on the lot. The accessory building that they are looking to demolish is a non-historic building, so it does not actually require a full certificate of demolition, and it can be covered under a COA. So here is the location. It's at the southwest corner of Berry and Prince, pretty much diagonal here from City Hall. The top right is showing the front of the house. You can see a little bit of the existing garage behind it. And then there is, on the bottom right, you'll see the kind of existing garage as it is and its location. Again, just kind of going over process tonight as well as it was noticed correctly. Again, proposed changes, criteria, and then recommendation. So first, it's going to be to demolish the existing non-historic garage. It was built about 1993, 94, I believe. And to note this, that is the third garage that was on site according to the designation. The proposed is used to construct a 2-story garage with an accessory dwelling unit on the 2nd floor. The primary materials, the cladding will be cementitious fiber, lap, and scallop siding in a similar profile to what is on the historic house, and then for the roof, just basic asphalt shingle. The dimensions, the footprint will be about 625 square feet with a total area for the 2 floors to be 1,250 square feet. The height is noted as 24 foot 6 inches. This is from the top of foundation. I will kind of go over this later in a condition, but we would rather that be coming from grade and not top of foundation. So we are expecting, I will explain later more what exactly that means, but just take a note that the height is noted as from top of foundation. Here is the site plan. One thing you'll notice is that the demolished garage was up closer to the kind of northwest corner of the property. To meet current day code, It does have to meet our setbacks, so from that north property line, or what we would consider a side property line, it has to be 10 feet away. And then that rear property line, it would also have to be 5 feet from there. The south property line has a 5-foot setback, which it's well within. The roof is allowed to overhang up to 18 inches over that setback, so that's why it's kind of shown a little inset from the plan on that. And it's about 15 feet, I believe, from the existing house. So it does move in a bit closer to the house in terms of moving east, but is actually set back behind the house a little bit more than the existing garage in terms of kind of that corner shot from Barry and Prince, as well as just kind of looking from Barry as well. Here's the north elevation, so this would be along Barry Avenue. It is the primary entrance for the building, and so as I noted, it's gonna have a garage on that first floor. It'll be a single car garage, and then the kind of patio porch entrance side opens into a small office, and then there'll be a restroom and then access to the second floor as well. Kind of creates a small porch with an awning as well. The windows are 6/6 double hung. It's kind of following similar to the house, utilizes double hung windows. I don't believe they're all the exact same, kind of 6/6, but that is fine. The downtown, this area, as I noted, is a landmark property, and so does not have a set of clear kind of design guidelines, but it is in the downtown area, so the Littleton downtown design standards, which are different from the historic district guidelines, do note that kind of that pedestrian scale at street level, and activation is preferred, and that is happening here. And it is still, I would say, though, it's similar materials and appearance, relatively contemporary as they are more modern day materials that are being used. Here is the east elevation, so this is faced towards the kind of interior of the lot, towards the house. You'll see here in the gable utilizing that scalloped detail that is also on the historic house, as well as kind of the fixed window, and then it'll provide access and a landing there at the bottom. Here's the south elevation that is kind of facing that interior side lot line. Again, kind of providing access with covered door. This is, there will be some parking here on the site plan. It's noted as having some parking, so this provides access to the building through there. There will be a skylight for the second floor in order to, again, allow more light. And the HVAC does show a 6-foot fence kind of blocking that view from the main house. We are not looking at the fences within the COA because HPC doesn't, so, but just noting that that will provide some kind of visual block of that equipment. And then the west elevation will be the alley side. Again, showing that scallop detail in the gable, use of the double hung windows and kind of similar style. The banding around kind of helps a little bit with scale, kind of having that being broken up a little bit more, and kind of similar features where kind of visually very quickly being able to see two separate floors, and it doesn't feel like one large massive wall. So that banding is kind of helpful, small detail, but helps with the scale a little bit. Here's just kind of a 3D rendering of what's proposed. I will make a note that the driveway will require kind of that ADA compliance with existing kind of sidewalk and walking per our engineering codes. That is in the right-of-way, so it's not under the purview of this commission, but just wanted to note that. And then this one I feel like is probably a little bit most helpful in terms of understanding scale. So the before kind of still shows that existing garage. The after shows the proposed one. It will be visible. It being set back helps to mitigate some of the height. This scale is larger. Its footprint is smaller, and the building is noted as shorter than the historic house, which will need to be fully verified measurements before the kind of final plans are signed off, which will be noted in the conditions. But that's kind of showing it right now. So it is a larger scale, but it is still relatively subordinate to the main house, and that's kind of what we were looking at. We did look at the Secretary of Interior standards, as I noted, the downtown Littleton design standards, as well as the decision criteria, and it met all of the criteria as noted, with the house being kind of that roughly 25 feet tall, and kind of changing that dimension from grade to be 24 foot 6 inches. So the kind of final height will be roughly that 24 foot 6 is what we're looking for, or at least 6 inches shorter than the historic house. It was noted, and I spoke with the applicant on this, it was noted as kind of 25 feet plus or minus. So they will verify that final height and make sure that kind of what's shown on the drawing, that 6 inch difference does occur. And that is kind of in my recommendation. So kind of recommending approval with the condition that the applicant verify the historic house will be at least 6 inches taller than the proposed accessory building from grade. So that's a little bit more confusing, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them on it. And the verification, just to kind of note, I do look at the final plans, I go through them, make sure that if there are any conditions applied, that they will be within the plans prior to Paige signing off on them, but it does not necessarily come back to the commission. And we also go through another review in order to do the building permit as well. So that's kind of, staff is not done looking at it from after tonight.
All right, thank you. Would the applicant or the architect like to come up and present?
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, I'm building this just for home use, office, guest house, and future possible rental, but I don't anticipate that right away. And I just think it would add to the neighborhood. So.
Yeah. So my name is Matthew Crick. I'm the architect on the project.
And I'm the owner. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, Brad.
So, one thing I wanted to just bring to the notice of the board here was
Do you mind going into the,
Sure.
yeah, there you go.
Our first inclination when we started this project was actually keep the garage. And we did a pre-application meeting here, a couple rooms over. We met with a few different departments and found a few different roadblocks from different departments. And it was discouraging, fortunately, because like the original garage was pretty much on the north and the west property lines.
Yeah, it butted the property line, yeah.
And so to build a second story, we would have had to take out the existing foundation, put a real stem wall foundation underneath it, which would have gone over the property line, which meant we were encroaching beyond where we could have been. Then also the overhangs for the roof were already encroaching into the alleyway, which transportation had a big problem with already. So adding a second story was not in the cards for that either, from the transportation department. And then from the zoning, we were having issues with parking and trying to find enough spots. And we were violating a few of the setbacks as well. So after that meeting, we all kind of collectively decided that the easiest course of action would be to just build new and to build it right. And so we took that into account. We looked at, the existing house that's there, and even though our ADU is not a historically, doesn't be part of that building, because it's not, the whole property is not, it's just the building itself. But we still tried to honor it and make it look similar, but built in this time. And we took a lot of our design cues and notes from the original building and applied them onto our new property. So.
Yeah, and to add on that point, I think it's important for it to match. So, we talked about that at length, and, I want it to look right, to match and be congruent with what's happening already. So, yeah, we tried to go the first route, and it just didn't work. So,
yeah.
Here we are.
All right, thank you. Does the board have any questions for Sarah, the applicant, or the architect?
Sarah, you made several points about that the ADU building needs to be subordinate. Is that why this, please forgive me for the obvious question, but since you hit this point several times, the 6 inch offshoot is to just technically be subordinate, is that the idea?
Yes. In looking at kind of reviewing the plans and accepting it, noticed that the 24-foot 6-inch came from the foundation and not grade. So it's just kind of taking into account, kind of assumed it had been from grade from the beginning. And so understanding that that is subordinate to the main house, we want this to be smaller. That's kind of per preservation as well as just our zoning code. We require that accessory buildings are subordinate to the main house that's on property. So yes, that's kind of where we're coming at with that, is that we want it to be smaller to kind of help mitigate some of the impact of having a new building behind this existing building on a relatively small property. I know 6 inches isn't a ton, but it does kind of help in terms of keeping it subordinate, but allowing that use of a second floor, essentially.
Well, also, I mean, 6 inches is not a lot, but a rule's a rule. And if 6 inches does it, then it does it, because we have to be fair. So, thank you.
We asked what the rule was, and I think engineering said 1 inch was enough.
Yeah, as
So-
long as it's less than.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, look, well, 6 inches is.
But the first iteration of the plan too, you know, we scaled it back, and Sarah was very helpful. You know, we did some things to make it look smaller. You know, you can probably comment more on that,
Yeah.
but we made a lot of effort to make sure that it was subordinate, just not by size, but by look.
It had
So-
some bigger dormers on both sides.
Yeah.
And it really gave it a very much more feel of a much more mass. So one of Sarah's comments was to maybe take those off or adjust them in some way. So, and I agree. After we did that, it looked much
Yeah,
less
we
big
were
for the
happy
street.
with it.
So I think everyone was happy. Yeah.
Did you have a question, Robert?
Yeah. I'm curious about the second floor, the plate height of the exterior walls. Are they a full 8 feet or are they lower than that?
It actually started around 7 on the edges, and that goes up from there. So
So when you're in the room, you'll see a curved ceiling.
yeah, we stuck it at 7 because that's code minimum. But in the kitchen area, there's actually, have some compromises with the upper cabinets there. But to meet that 24/6, we had to make some adjustments. And so we brought that down to 7 and brought the pitch down just enough so that we're shorter than the main house.
And the other thing I was curious about was.
Commissioner Honey, is your mic on?
Sorry.
I'm having a little trouble hearing to myself. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry. The windows, the trim around the windows, the top, the head of the window trim, is that just plain or just you're picture framing that? Or would that be like a 4-inch with some kind of a decorative, you know, piece of trim on the top? Because when I look at the existing house, it seems to have something like that.
We looked at the existing house, and it does have that added little entablature of a trim on the very top
Right.
one. We thought, you know, we should honor that, but stick a little more of this time. And so we're just gonna have a slightly bigger piece of trim on the top. If the sides are 4, the top might be 6. But not to have any extra fancy ornamentation that would, yeah. So that was a decision to go a little bit differently from the existing house.
And we did talk about that. We thought for practical reasons too, it would create a water issue. My house as it exists now is a sieve, and that's a constant problem I've had. So although we're trying to keep it as close as possible, that's kind of the ultimate decision we came up with.
All right.
Yeah.
And that railing by the front door, is that what you're proposing, or is that just something that you're showing in the rendering? It looks like that,
To that one. To the right, to the bottom right of that image there?
yeah, to the right of the front door.
Yeah. So we wanted a way to engage the street, even though it's an alley, wanted to try to bring some type of front door presence to a side street, if you will. So it didn't feel right to put a 6-foot tall fence there, right? We wanted there to be some type of, if you're sitting there on the front deck, you can see out. But also, you're right in an alley. You're a few inches away from a big pickup truck that might be going down there, or a garbage truck or something like that. So this was a compromise to do a 4-foot tall fence, and we made it a little bit decorative with some concrete base, get for more water and for snow so it doesn't get into there, but then a little more decorative as we went up with the wood railing to connect it to the rest of the fences.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions or comments over here? Or questions, I guess, right now?
I don't have a question. I do have a comment. One of the things, I think this is a very thoughtful structure. One of the things that I like about it is that it does not give a false sense of history by looking exactly like the house. It looks like a new structure. It looks like a modern structure.
Yeah, Sarah
in-
mentioned
in
that,
its
and that's
time.
how we got to this end, yeah.
Yes. And the other thing that I like a great deal about this is that a pedestrian walking down the street right now sees a closed garage door. And it's not interesting. Whereas this, it does contribute greatly to the pedestrian experience, and it
contributes to the neighborhood. I think it's a very thoughtful design.
Thanks.
Just to reiterate that, because when you're driving down Prince, you can see.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, it's good. When you're driving down, you can see the garage, so I do think it affects both driver and pedestrian, because it is on the corner. It is visible, and it's not pretty right now, in my opinion.
And it gives a lot more space. Right now, the existing garage is right up against the alley, and there's no room for a sidewalk. And so this gives it a little more breathing room.
Right.
The position where we located it. And actually lines up with the existing house a lot better, too, so. I
Yeah,
think
because we're 10 feet south.
It's a
so-
win-win, and we need room for parking as well, so.
And I like landscaping, so it'll be nice.
Yeah.
I love in your rendering how you've got just open fields stretching out.
There you go. Notice no utility lines, it's by design, right?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions before we move to public comment? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to open the public comment portion of the public hearing at 7:18 PM. All right, and we've got one person, Marty, if you'd like to come up.
Hi, I'm Marty Bitts, and I'm in District 1, and I share with this house, with the main structure, a long property line. I'm just to the south of the corner house, and our houses are similar, except that, the one on the corner is wood, and mine is brick, but they were both built very close in time. And even though Brad is renting out that house now, he keeps it up beautifully. I think its historic nature has been very well taken care of. He's gone to a lot of trouble to work with the foundation and shore that up and take care of the siding, which deteriorates faster than my brick. And so, he's been a good neighbor. He showed me these little designs before tonight, and I just have to support what's going on there, and I know it'll be done in good taste, and it'll be a good value. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come up? Pam, you want to? Okay, yeah, Pam, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm Pam Chatborn and live close to this house too. I'm really grateful to Marty for speaking. I wanted to know what her opinion was, and I'm glad it's on the record because she's the neighbor next door. And a comment, I appreciate saying you like the open landscape trees and blue sky around that, but my comment is actually I'd like the commission to consider a change to the ULUC to require that renderings like this show the actual surroundings, because there's a neighbor to the west, there's a neighbor to the south, and there's a kitty corner neighbor who are all directly affected by this change. So I would like renderings that show that in a historic district, and a downtown that we're intentionally densifying. I would like us to understand the impacts on neighbors more clearly. I think that's our job as a city, that's our job as setting zoning. You, as historic preservation experts, you're the ones who help us understand what we see from the street as we walk by. You've noted the importance of windows because we all see those windows. And they're so important to our sense, even if people know nothing about historic preservation, they're so important to our sense of place. So I would like a change to code that would require renderings like this to show the actual surroundings and the impact on them, and some way for us, the public, to understand what that is, as well as so we know that you have seen it and think it's okay as well. But yeah, in general, or overall, this looks like a really good accommodation to the circumstances, and I'm grateful that Brad and the architect have taken the time to do this work to do this well. Thanks.
Thank you. And any other Yep.
Hi, I'm Bob Hello, I'm Bob Schwinn. I live at 5501 South Nevada. There's exactly one house between me and Brad's house, and I think this is a huge asset. I think it's really well done. It will help with traffic on the alley. It will just make everything look better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would anybody else like to comment? All right, I will close the public comment portion of the public hearing at 7:22 p.m. And now it is time to call for a motion.
I move to approve HPC Resolution 082024, approving the certificate of appropriateness for 5503 South Prince Street with the following condition. The applicant shall verify the historic house will be at least 6 inches taller than the proposed accessory building from grade and include the exact height on the final plan set.
I second.
All right, should we discuss the motion? Would anybody like to go first? Oh, any further discussion on the motion?
I have no further comment.
Okay, I would just like to echo what Kim said. I do think this is a really great project, and it's important that it's its own project while, giving nods to the historic building, but, being modern at the same time. So I think this is going to look really great, and I agree. It'll be an asset. Yes. All right. So let's then call for a vote. I do have my 3 dots here, so let me just try that. Okay. Nope.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. We did it, guys. Are we in? Okay.
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the comments and reports section. Sarah, do you have any comments or reports for us?
Yeah, just kind of wanted to follow up, give a little nudge about the email I sent about the Saving Places Conference. I've heard a couple back. If you have any interest, please feel free to kind of let me know what you would like to do. There's an in-person option. There's also virtual. And then the camp training, which is put on by the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. Really recommend it to anyone, but especially our newer members. It's a lot of really helpful information, and it's provided by kind of people who sit in my role on a day-to-day basis, so professionals that look at this type of stuff every day. And you can sign up for just that if you want, just that Saturday. And it will be down in Colorado Springs, the same location. But it's a generally really valuable training and a pretty good opportunity if you want to take it.
Great, thank you. And just to confirm, that's end of January, early February?
Yes,
right? Okay.
it's like the 28th or 29th through the 1st. And I
Okay.
think the 1st for the conference is just mobile workshops on that last day, and then also the camp training.
Okay,
So the main conference is those kind of 2 or 3 days before.
great, thank you.
And I'd like to just give a ringing endorsement for camp. I was fortunate enough to participate in camp the first year that I was on HPB, and it is literally like drinking from a fire hose, and it is so much fun, and you learn so much. Very, very in-depth information. And it's very valuable, well worth your time. And it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'd love to see everyone take advantage of it.
All right. City Attorney or City Clerk?
None, just happy holidays.
Well, I do. The meeting for next month is moved from Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the 20th to January 23rd. So far,
Okay.
there's nothing on the agenda just yet, so check your email on the 16th of January, and I'll let you know if we're having a meeting or not.
Okay, great, thank you. All right. And then, board members, any updates for the group? All right, I do not have an update either, so I will, with no further business, adjourn this meeting at 7:27 PM.